US prediction markets just opened to the whole nation. Billions in new trades are up for grabs. For EU, air transparency is now law. So show your data or lose an $18 trillion market.
We have just witnessed two legal earthquakes, one in the United States and one in the European Union. And together they create billions in opportunity for those who pay attention and those who act first. In America, $120 billion a year betting economy just got federal approval and rolling out an information market. In Europe, AI companies can now be fined up to 15 million or lose the entire EU market if they cannot prove they trade their models safely. Mansi, our distinguished guest, is going to tell us today what exactly changed, why it is massive, and how we are already building for the win. Welcome to the Control Loop.
Yeah, absolutely, Mansi. I think these at least two developments have been very critical in the space right now, especially the first one, which is very close to one of our products as well, which is the prediction markets. And is it really true, Mansi? Did the Polymarket actually get a federal license?
There's a $120 billion sports betting market in America. Until last week, event markets couldn't legally tap that scale without navigating 50 sets of state laws. On July 9th, 2025, the CFTC actually has given Polymarket US a DCM license, which means that event markets can now operate under one national rulebook, just like the 1 quadrillion a year derivatives industry.
I guess this is green light for us, obviously at Eterna X. And the reason is, running high liquidity US compliant agent strategies on the venues with national reach. This is really, really exciting for us as at Eterna X.
Yeah, I think let's dive in a little bit deeper. But look, what has actually practically changed except just bureaucracy?
So imagine if the stock market had to operate separately in every state, liquidity would die. That's been prediction markets' problem for decades. A federal license changes that. It turns a niche of maybe 200,000 active US traders into a potential audience in tens of millions. Even if only 5% of the sports betting handle migrates to the regulated events markets, that's 6 billion in annual trading volume up for grabs. I think for Eterna X, that's billions in addressable flow for your agent market makers.
Definitely, Mansi. I think the scale of the prediction markets, with this legislation is going to just increase, and it's going to be huge within the coming years. So why is it critical, Mansi, right now, and not say probably 2-3 years later from here?
Because in every market shift, early players own the majority of the liquidity. Look at crypto, for instance. The first 5 exchanges that went big still control over 80% of the spot volume today. The first compliant agent networks in US event markets will be the default choice for years. For Eterna X, moving now could mean capturing tens of millions in annual agent profits before competitors even file for access.
Okay, we have been saying a few times already today that, those who pay attention and those who move first are going to win. But I guess practically, what is the actual first move that we're gonna have to make as a company who wants to enter into that market?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have, we ship the DCM ready agent kit, and there is a hard finality which we offer is basically both for humans and bots. So ideally, the hard finality is something that we are looking at sub 100 milliseconds. Then exchange grade risk controls for the institutional onboarding is something that we are already thinking about. Full CFTC style audit log so the regulation sees zero gray zones. And this positions Eterna X as the go-to infrastructure for compliant, profitable agents in the America's newest legal markets. There is the second segment, Mansi, and we wanted so your insights on that segment as well. Is on EU AI Act, which has just been released, and what just happened there, Mansi? Can you shed some light there?
15 million pounds or 3% of your company's global turnover. That's the fine you now risk in the EU if you cannot prove what data trained your AI. As of August 2025, any provider of a general purpose AI model in the EU must publish a public summary of its training content. For a unicorn AI company, that's a fine big enough to wipe out an entire year of R&D. This is the GDPR moment for AI, and it's live now.
Europe and regulation are still going hand in hand. as we have expected. Me living here in the EU, I have already seen ChatGPT being blocked in Italy for privacy concern and so other years. So it's not so much exciting to see from inside the European Union. Could you give us maybe a summary of what it is that the companies are going to have to disclose?
Right. So you have to give the regulators and the public a real breakdown, the kinds of data you used, text, images, audio, video, where it came from, licensed, public data sets, scraped web content, user uploads, or synthetic data. Top 10% of your scraped domains for smaller firms, top 5% or 1,000 sites. What did you remove from copyrighted or illegal content? Think of it as ingredients for the list of your AI, and it has to be honest.
Well, this is too much. I mean, and this is something which there has been a debate like why Europe is behaving in this sense, while China and US are much more open, and they are much more promoting in terms of the AI adoption and the AI technology. But these things are pretty strange for us. I had this question, Mansi. Why should the builders care right now for this legislation?
Because market access will disappear before the fines hit. The EU economy is worth $18 trillion, which is a big number. Big buyers there, banks, manufacturers, governments will start rejecting AI vendors who can't provide this summary. You miss compliance and you don't just pay a fine, you lose one of the biggest AI markets in the world.
And what we can be doing it as a company that is not really training AI just yet, but is providing AI kind of access to AI agents as a service. Is that any relevant?
Yeah, I mean, we have been, Daria, turning compliance into a feature. So, provenance by design. Basically, agents log the exact model and the version used sealed in TEE so that it cannot be forged, which is, again, a critical part of our design. Compliance registry, every model where we integrate shows its EU trained data summary right in our protocol. Then there is jurisdictional routing and AI safe mode that only calls compliant models. So this means that our agents can run anywhere in the world without hitting a legal wall. A selling point, no gray market system, kind of match. And this is something which we have already seen with GDPR. They need some vendors which are GDPR compliant, while the US guys don't really bother about those. And we have tackled those from the design at the design level itself. So I think we are pretty well positioned in this case.
Well, I think we're certainly very glad to have Mansi by our side to help us navigate all of these things because a lot of this just goes way over my head.
Yeah, US prediction markets just opened to the whole nation. Billions in new trades are up for grabs. For EU, AI transparency is now law. So show your data or lose an $18 trillion market.
Well, certainly at EternaX, we are building agents that are going to be fast enough to win and compliant enough to scale in hopefully any jurisdiction. So in both arenas in the US, the EU, or anywhere else from day one.
Thank you, Mansi and Daria for arranging this podcast. And this has been great, Mansi, having you again. There's a lot of legal churn that is going out every day. There's a lot of updates that are coming in. I hope to see you again on our podcast. And thanks for all the time that you have been giving to us.
Glad to be back, guys.
Well, thank you and see you very soon. And to our listeners, see you back in our next episodes.